Hi boys and girls, my name is Miss Jennifer and I'm a teaching artist in the PACE Art program. I'm here today to do an art lesson with you. I am so glad that you could join me. Today we will be doing a science-based art lesson. For this lesson we'll be talking about Earth Day and the fact that Earth Day is today and it is being celebrated across the world. We will learn about the theme for Earth Day this year, which is Restore the Earth. We will learn about our Earth, planting trees, and caring for our pollinating insects. We will also learn about keeping our Earth safe by recycling, reducing, and reusing waste that humans create on a daily basis. The supplies you will need today will be 2 sheets of white paper, a variety of crayons, and a variety of markers, making sure that you have a black marker. We will be using lines, shapes, and colors for our lesson. We will be drawing with our black marker, tracing the black marker with our color marker, and coloring our images in with our marker and crayons today. We will be drawing a picture of Earth. We will be drawing a picture of a flowering tree and a honeybee. We will think about our lesson today as saving the bees by planting more flowering trees. Boys and girls, today is a very special day for our Earth. Today is Earth Day. Earth Day happens every April 22nd, and it is a celebration of our Earth and our environment. Now, our Earth is the place in which we live, and our environment is everything that is around us. So we want to make sure that today we take the time to think about what we could do to help save our Earth. There are several different things that we're going to talk about while we're doing our lesson today that will definitely help our Earth. We will also be talking about doing some recycling, reducing, and reusing. The 3 R's as it's known. You might ask, what is recycling? Well, recycling is when you use something over again. For example, let's say you have a glass bottle. You could rinse it out and you could use that as your drink bottle. That would be a good way of recycling that bottle. Now, reducing means that we don't want to have as much waste. And so that means that we want to only get the things that we need, and we want to reuse things as much as we can. There comes the 3rd R, reuse. Reusing things. Reusing paper that maybe we would throw away. Reusing maybe a milk carton that we would have thrown away. Trying to find ways to reuse things that would go into the trash. So boys and girls, you will see here that of course I have the Earth that we've already talked about because today is Earth Day and this is the place in which we live. I also have pictures of trees. And what do you see in these 2 trees? Why don't you turn and tell your neighbor what you see in these 2 trees? Do that now. Awesome! I heard the answer. There is color in the trees. We call these flowering trees. Now, some flowering trees make fruits on them. Others just make flowers. Well, these flowering trees are very important to our bees. And do you have any idea why these bees need these flowering trees? Let's tell our neighbor. Go ahead. Awesome. The bees need the flowers for pollen and nectar. Good job. So the bees actually need the pollen and nectar in order to survive. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So today we're going to be drawing part of our Earth, a flowering tree, and a bee. I want to go ahead and get started with drawing, and we're going to talk along the way. So let's get our black marker, and you should have your white paper in front of you. You might want to put your paper laying on its side horizontally so that we have enough room to draw, but if you decide you want to put it vertically, that is okay with me too. And of course, let's get our scrap paper out also. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we want to draw part of our Earth. Now, Earth is the place in which we live. It is the planet in which we live. And so, at the very bottom of my paper, I'm going to start about right here, and I'm going to draw just part of my Earth. Now, if I draw part of a circle, as we know our Earth is a circle, do you know what this is called? If you said a semicircle, you are correct. Good job. Now, on our Earth, we have land and we also have water. And of course, we live on the land. So, we're going to make some wavy lines. And so this is like the top part here. And then kind of off to the side, we're going to make another wavy line. And that's kind of the part of the land on this side. And so, we start out with our Earth. And for Earth Day, and being that we are focusing on saving our Earth, one thing that we also want to save are our trees and our bees. And so the reason that we're focusing on a flowering tree today is because it is important for our bees. Now, Earth Day is a celebration where most people will plant a tree. Trees are good because they help to clean the air, and they also help to keep the dirt or the ground kind of from washing away. And so they are very important to our Earth. And so we are going to be wanting to draw a tree. Now when we draw our tree, we're going to draw our tree going straight up off of our Earth. Drawing our tree, we're going to be drawing our straight line. So we're going to kind of practice here. So straight line or kind of maybe even curved going up like this. Now remember, we're doing that on our practice paper and we're about to do it on our drawing paper, right? So here I'm going to draw my semicircle. And I'm going to draw my land. So here we go. Here is the land, just like I did here. And now I want to draw my curved lines going up on my tree. I don't want to go too high because I still need to draw the top of my tree. All right, now, what is the next thing you think from the trunk of the tree that I need to draw going up? Well, if you said branches, you are right. And so here we go. I'm going to draw it here first. I'm going to draw one. I'm just going to kind of make a curve, really simple. Here's another one and another one. So let's make 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'll show you again. So we're going to kind of use our curved line. And then we're going to go back to the top. Use our curved line. Or you could even make it a straight line like Miss Jennifer just did. And then back down. And those are the branches of our tree. Good job, boys and girls. Your drawings look great. Now the next thing that I want to draw is I want to draw the top part of my tree. And looking at these two trees, what shape do you think that I could use to draw the top part of my tree? Well, if you said maybe a circle or an oval, you are correct. So we're going to start about right here, and you could use a wavy line if you want. And you're going to draw the top of your tree, just like that. Now, my tree's leaning a little bit, but that's okay. You could have a leaning tree or a straight tree. And so now I'm going to start to draw it on my paper. And there we go. Now I have my tree. So, trees are very important in saving our Earth. And flowering trees have flowers. That's why they're called flowering trees. If you look carefully here, this one has pink flowers. I have another picture of one that has white flowers. And here, of course, it would have, good job, purple flowers. Awesome. Well, these flowers are very important to our bees. Now, there are two kinds of bees that actually make honey, and those are honeybees, which are here, and bumblebees, which are a little bit bigger. Now, honeybees make lots of honey, but bumblebees don't make that much. And so we really depend on our honeybees for honey. Now, how many of you have tasted honey before? Raise your hand. Good job. I've had honey and it tastes really, really good. Well, honey is made from bees, and the way that they make their honey is they fly around until they get a flower. And then on their body, they have tiny little bitty hairs. They have so many little hairs. So they roll around and that pollen sticks to the hair. Now, the pollen also goes over their eyes. And so they use their front legs and they sort of clean off their eyes. And they bring this pollen back to this. Does anybody know what this is called? Well, this is a beehive. And if you have a tree, bees will actually make a beehive in a tree. And the beehives start like this. These are just sections of wax that they build up, and then the bees gather around and they bring that pollen on their back legs. As you see here, they kind of push that pollen around to their back legs and they fly to the beehive and they start using that pollen to make honey. And so over time, this beehive will be covered in honey. Now, the amazing thing that I learned about bees is that bees need honey in order to survive. That is their food. But they make so much honey that there's enough to share with humans. And I thought that was pretty cool. This part is also called a honeycomb. Can you say it together? Honeycomb. Good job. And when you look a lot closer to the honeycomb, you will see all of these little tiny little honeycombs. And of course, here's the bees that are bringing the pollen back to the beehive to make honey. Some of these little parts right here that you see will be filled with honey. But other ones, well, will have an egg laid into it. So there's a queen bee, and the queen is responsible for laying eggs. So in these little combs that you see here, she takes her time and she lays an egg. Then in that little section, the egg starts to grow and grow until it turns into a bee that comes out of the honeycomb. And so I thought that was pretty cool because she is the bee that stays in the hive all day long, and her job is just to lay eggs. But we have worker bees, and our worker bees are our bees that go out to get the honey, and they also help to take care of the beehive, keeping it clean, making sure that nothing is getting to it. And so, saying that, let's go on and let's work on our flowering tree so that we have flowers for our bees to get pollen off of to make honey. And so the way that we're going to make our flower is we're going to make a circle. This is all about circles. A circle in the middle, then a circle, a circle, a circle, a circle, a circle, and a circle all the way around. And that is simply the way that we're going to make our flowers today. And so you can go ahead and you can make your flowers on your practice paper so you can practice them. They don't all have to be the same size. And so here I'm going to make my flowers. Now, maybe you want to make a bigger flower because not all flowers are the same. Some of them might have a lot of petals. Maybe some flowers lost a few petals, and that is okay. And so here are my flowers. Good job. And while I'm talking, you can keep making your flowers. And so now we have flowers on our tree. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to start working on our bee. All right, and so I'm going to give you a little time to finish working on your flowers before I start drawing the bee. And I'm going to tell you some little fun facts about bees. So bees are insects, and they are also pollinating insects. And what that means is that they play a really important part in taking the pollen and making it into food. Not only are bees, honeybees, bumblebees, pollinators, but we also have butterflies. Hummingbirds also are very important for our earth because this pollen makes honey, but not only that, as the bees or other insects or hummingbird get the pollen that they need or the nectar that they need, they are actually taking pollen from one flower and they're putting it onto another flower. And that is pollinating the flowers, which helps to make seeds and also helps to make fruits and vegetables that animals and humans need in order to eat. So they are very important to our earth. Now, another thing about bees is that they work really hard, and there are bees that are called worker bees that actually make signals when they find food. So they'll go to the hive and they'll waggle, waggle, waggle. They'll do a waggle dance. Can we waggle dance together? Let's all stand up and let's waggle, waggle, waggle. So they waggle, 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 and they do it in the figure 8 or the number 8, just like this. So they start here and they waggle, 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 and they make it into the number 8. And they keep doing that, and that tells the other bees, hey, he found food. We're going to follow him. So, good job. You can sit down now. Great dance, guys. All right, so that's another fun fact about bees. I'm ready to start drawing my bee. And so here I go. I am going to, again, use my black marker. And I'm going to draw my bee here, but I'm going to draw it right here on this paper as practice paper because I don't have that much room. And we're going to start off and we're going to sort of make an oval, just like this. So let's make an oval. Now in that oval, we're going to make some kind of zigzag lines. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3, and 4. Can we do that together? Make 4 with zigzag lines. So here we go. So here is my bee. And I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, and 4 zigzag lines. So now I'm ready to go ahead and I'm going to make my wings on my bee next. As you can see, bees have wings. Now bees have 4 wings. They have 2 large wings and 2 smaller wings. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So what we're going to do for our wings is we're just going to kind of make a curve like this and a curve like this on the other side. You want to have your wings one on each side. And so here is my wing, and you can get a little fancy with your wings, maybe using more of like a wavy line like Miss Jennifer did here. And then we need to make another set, and the other set is right underneath. And so here we're going to make smaller wings just like this, and let's do that to our picture. And there we go. So now we have 4 sets of wings, and bees also have something on the top of their head. Do you know what it is? Let's tell our neighbor. I heard the answer. Great. Antennas. They have antennas. And so here we can make 2 lines on the top of our bee's head for his antennas. Next thing we need are these big black eyes. Right on the side of the antennas, we have 2 big eyes. And I also want to go in and I want to put some little lines inside of my wings because bees actually, if you look really carefully here, you will see that they have lines inside of their wings. And so, for that reason, I want to add some lines. Good job. Your bees are looking great, guys. One more thing I want to add to my picture. And that is a big old wavy line. That's going to go all around my paper and back to my earth. What I just made here is I just made a border. And so let's make a border around our paper. Now maybe you want a different border. Maybe you want your border to be straight lines, just like this. Or maybe you want it to be more of a zigzag wavy line. You could also do that. It's really up to you. Good job. So now we have finished drawing our picture and we're getting ready to start coloring. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use markers to trace, and then we're going to color with our markers and our crayons today. So I'm going to start first with my blue, and I'm going to put my bees' wings blue because normally you can sort of see through them, and when they're flying in the sky, you start to see the blue from the sky. But if you want to put a little brown or something else, you can. And so simply what we're doing right now is we are tracing around our black line that we drew so that we now can see the blue marker along the edge of our black line. And so there you go. There is my blue. Now, I also, while I have my blue marker, I have blue water. And so down here on the bottom, now remember, this is the land, that's going to be a different color. We might want to trace along the edge of our semicircle, just like this, so that we have our blue for our water. Awesome. All right, now the next color that I'm going to get is I'm going to get the green. And for the green, I'm going to do the land part, which is here, the land part of my picture. And so here I go. I'm going to trace around the land, because later what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to either use our markers to color in or our crayons to color in, just like that. And I'm going to also trace the outside of my tree. Now, some trees might have lots of flowers that make it really, really colorful. My tree doesn't have quite as much flowers, and so I'm still going to make my tree green, and then I'm going to color my flowers in with the color that I want. And if you wanted, you could actually add some lines around your tree so that it kind of looks like maybe some leaves. All right, good job. And then I want my brown, and I'm going to trace around my tree trunk with my brown, just like this. And if you wanted to use a different color, you could. And maybe you could put some little dashes to look like tree bark. Very good. Now there's one more thing. I want to use purple, and I'm going to use my purple to trace my border all the way around. Miss Jennifer missed a couple spots, but it's okay. You can always go back and you can fill them in. Then I'm going to start on this side. Now if you want, you could actually take your marker and you could color in your border, or you could maybe even use a crayon. It's really up to you. I think I'm going to use a crayon for mine, but if you feel like coloring it in, you can color your whole border with your purple or your green or your blue or whatever color you decided to pick for your border. Now, I have traced everything on my picture, and now I am going to start coloring it. All right, so I know first of all, you know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to take my yellow, and I know that my bee's head is yellow. And notice something. I started coloring his head. I skipped one, colored one, skipped one, colored one, and I have a pattern started. And then I'm going to take my black, and you know what? I'm going to color in the rest of the white parts with the black, because my bees are black and yellow, just like this. Good job, boys and girls. All right, and then I'm just going to start coloring. So here I want to color my water, just like this, around my land. And if you want to use a couple of different color blues, feel free to do that. Then I want to color my land, because I know that my earth has land and water. And there we go. All right, so While we're coloring, I want to talk about a few other things that we could do to help our earth. So one of them maybe is we could plant a tree or we could plant flowers. That is one thing. We could be car free, which means that maybe we could walk to places instead of using a car. That would definitely help our earth. Maybe we could reuse things. Like maybe we could reuse this container. Instead of throwing it away, we could use it for something else. And so those are things that we could do. We could even use less water. That will also help our earth. All right, so Miss Jennifer doesn't have time to finish coloring my picture today, but I want you to go ahead and color your picture. Maybe when you have time, you could add more things to your picture. Today, we learned about Earth Day. We learned about the theme for Earth Day this year, which is restoring the earth. We learned about ways to help save our environment. We learned about the importance of keeping our earth clean by recycling, reducing, and reusing waste. We also learned about the importance of planting flowering trees to save our pollinating insects. And we learned about bees and why they are so important in helping us have seeds, fruits, and vegetables so that people and animals can eat. If you have some extra time today, you might want to add a couple of bees to your picture. I want you to make sure that you take some time to share your picture with your family and friends. Until next time, let's keep making art.